I just said a few minutes ago that I don't want people to think that because I am defending Nick Fuentes in an instant where he should be defended, that I support him. And that political nuance is very key. This is one of those key stories that I want people to understand. Right after the 2024 election, a lady decided to go up to Nick's house and confront him. Didn't like what he was saying. So here's where we're going to start. Colin, if you can grab the Instagram story about this lady. And this is actually from Vice News that covered this back in November of 2024. So let's set the stage for why this is such a big deal. So here's how it began. I just got maced by white supremacist streamer Nick Fuentes. And again, you could call him whatever you want. Call him a white supremacist. I don't care. Just, say what you have to say. And the lady's name is Marla Rose. Before I even pressed the bell, he flung the door open and sprayed immediately. I was going to ask, why do you feel so comfortable saying the things you say? Well, because it is a free country and he kind of can't say what he wants. I mean, at least I think it is. Probably not for much longer, but while it is, people can say what they want to say. It was obvious he's very scared and paranoid. Well, you showed up at his front door, just be thankful you did it in a blue state, not a red state. I doubt you would have done that in Iowa. I doubt you would have done it in Indiana. I'm just putting that out there. After Donald Trump's presidential election win, misogynist streamer and Trump supporter Nick Fuentes started posting "Your body, my choice" on social media. Again, very lowbrow, very stupid, and I don't agree with it, but he has the right to say what he wants to say until he starts threatening people, and then that changes the narrative in terms of what the actual meaning of your First Amendment rights are. The slogan taunts women dismayed at the prospect of abortion rights being stripped from them by Trump's administration, and it went viral. Fuentes was doxed, his home address posted online. When a 57-year-old feminist named Marla Rose went to his door, he sprayed her with mace. Video of the altercation leaked on X. You could see it in the next slide. Not the best visual, but get the idea. All right, that's enough of that one. Vice tracked down Marla for an exclusive interview. Again, she looks like a hippie lady. A good percentage of the women that you talk to are rape survivors. So it resonated with me on that level. We were still reeling from the bad news of the election, so it was just another cherry on top of a Sunday of despair. I just finished making a video for my friends. A woman pulled up in her car and said, "Is this where that douchebag lives? You should ring his bell and find out." It's not the most mature, enlightened thing I've ever done, but I cannot walk away from a dare. Actually, you can, because it's not exactly legal to try to threaten somebody at their home. But I digress. He seemed like he'd been barricaded in. He was very sweaty, twitchy, bug-eyed, blah, blah, blah. I was much more calm than he was, even after getting sprayed. I'm 5'1". He's not a big man himself, but I'm 57. He's 26. Yeah, no big deal. Fuentes fans got my address this morning. We got swatted. 3 police showed up and told us these Latino names were causing violence in our household, according to prank callers. I'm still deciding whether to press charges. I don't want to end up in a gulag now that Trump's elected. Again, being a little melodramatic, but this is how the lady felt. Okay. Now, there was talk of a lawsuit, there was talk of threats, and where did this ultimately go? Well, here is how it actually happened.
Hi. Oh my God! What are you doing? Get the fuck out of here!
Now, I want to be very clear. If this was done in one of those don't tread on me states, let's say West Virginia, for example, they have the legal right to shoot you dead if you come up to their property. If you are not invited and they don't know who you are, they have the legal right to shoot you dead. So when somebody does something like this, you are taking a very big chance, especially if you are looking for a confrontation. Now, obviously, a lady like this is not going to do much in terms of a confrontation. Very Israel-like of you, Nick, to shove down a lady. I think you got the job done with the spraying. But point is, okay, that's fair. Well, yes, but does the porch count? I mean, again, I don't know about the technicalities here. And again, I'm not here to defend Nick because what I think he did was fucked up. With that being said, you're going up to a person's house. Yeah, he did. And again, how does he know what she's going to do if she's coming to his door? Again, this is the thing. And it is wrong. Again, guys, I'm not disagreeing. It is wrong what he did. But the problem, did the pepper spray work? Yeah, of course it worked. That's the point. So why is this such a big deal? Here's where this problem escalates. Now, here's how it finishes up.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? I said I was looking at the car. Did you see what the car was? That's the car.
So here's what little Nikki had to say about this.
Rose thinks it's okay for people to show up to somebody's house. She thinks that's a way to hold somebody accountable. She says, she wants all my followers to know that if you don't like what somebody is saying, you can show up to their front door looking for a problem. And she said that in the article. She said, quote, what I want is for all of his groypers and his hundreds of thousands of followers to know there are consequences to actions. I don't want them to think you can't be held accountable. Well, you heard her. She believes that if you say something on the internet that somebody doesn't like, that people are perfectly entitled to go to your house looking for a problem. Well, that's good to know. I don't agree with that, actually. I don't think people should do that.
I like what Dale said. Why did you open the door? And I'm going to tell you why he opened the door. Because he found somebody he didn't think was intimidating to him. Now, if this was a guy even of maybe my size, he probably wouldn't have opened the door. But because it's a woman, he was really going for that IOF energy. Somebody that he felt that he could physically handle. Okay. And not opening the door was the better policy. Especially if it was somebody who you knew was looking for trouble, because she did have her phone. You know, she was like showing her phone, like she was videotaping, which I'm sure he saw, because if you're Fuentes, and my understanding is that he's got some type of a security camera at his house. And how could he not? Obviously, we remember the guy who showed up at his house with the, I don't know if it was an automatic weapon or what it was, but he was trying to shoot him dead. So he clearly had cameras so he could see what he was doing. So if you knew that this lady was coming up to your house, why would you just not ignore it? Why open the door and do that? He hates women. He does. Now, you would think that there's no possible way that Nick Fuentes could be a sympathetic figure in this story. But believe it or not, there's actually a way that he did become one. And this is insane. Vile video shows white supremacist Nick Fuentes pepper spraying, shoving Jewish woman outside his home. Because why not point out the fact that this woman is Jewish in the New York Post? Now, again, you can call Nick whatever you want. And clearly the New York Times doesn't, or the New York Post, I should say, doesn't care for him. This lady, again, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'm going to guess that this lady, while she may be Jewish, is not pro-Israel. Even though the New York Post appears to be the most pro-Israel rag in all of media, at least in terms of its overt support for the state of Israel, especially from the conservative bend. But you just had to point out that the woman was Jewish, because why not? This is all they've got. And in the end, you know what you ended up doing, New York Post, which I'm still not convinced wasn't intentional. Scroll down, Colin, to the comments. Shoving stalker trying to record inside his home. What a way to Kim Iverson, what a way to misrepresent what happened. The director's cut is what? Don't show that. Don't show that. Keep going. The Patriot Voice, how Nick Fuentes sues the balls off of the New York Post for defamation, maybe just obvious agitators, et cetera, et cetera. Are you kidding me with this headline? Again, this is what happens. Who cares? Who cares that this woman's Jewish? Why does that matter? I'll tell you why it matters. Because Nick Fuentes does not support the state of Israel. Now, Nick Fuentes is without question a white nationalist, and he's very proud of it. But when you write headlines like that, you create sympathetic character in a Nick Fuentes, which does not need to be sympathized with at all. Just doesn't. But this is the intent. This is also the intent of the pro-Israel lobby and how they operate. It's why everybody is focused on AIPAC, when in reality, there are dozens of these organizations. And why is that a big deal? Because the only way that it survives, the only way that it survives is by equating one and the same. That's it. There cannot be any separation. Judaism and Zionism are the same thing. And when somebody like Nick Fuentes gets into an altercation with a Jewish woman, it's because she's a Jew. That's why he did that. It is an AI slop video. That's why I'm not showing it. But that being said, people like Fuentes are able to build an audience, a strong audience, and an effective audience because of the blowback that comes with this broken system.